Hello everyone. I was recently asked the question, do bears choose people? Which I thought was a very interesting question and something that I haven't really thought about before. So I thought that today perhaps we could do something a little bit different. Come along, Penelope. She's sitting on Harry Potter. Not an actual Harry Potter, the book. Because it's a nice height for her to see out. And I thought perhaps Penelope could give us her thoughts on that. And I could tell you a few of my own experiences. And then perhaps you can think about your own experiences, which I would love to hear about, by the way, if you want to put anything in the comments, to see whether we can get to the bottom of it, because it is something that I am not absolutely sure about. Now, what we do know is that a bear coming from the bear dimension and coming back here to the people dimension for another life chooses to do so and comes back via something called the animatrix machine, which will take their anima and will pop it into a random bear anywhere in the world. So you don't know where you're going to end up. It's quite exciting. She's got something to say already. It's quite exciting. And some bears apparently seem to know where they are going to turn up. But let's explore it slowly. So yes, the anima will turn up in this random bear, obviously an empty bear, not a bear with anyone in it. And Penelope seems to think she's always got something to say, but I love that. I love that about her. She's great. And what she would like to tell us is, I was going to tell you my experiences, but that's not as good as having a real life bear who can tell you what they've experienced. Now, Penelope was going to tell us that she knew exactly where she was coming, apparently. And that is very true. I hadn't thought about this. Thank you for reminding me, Penelope. Because when I discovered Penelope, and I only did so via my partner, because I was playing with some other insignificant, no disrespect, very brightly coloured bear with some rainbow eyes. I wasn't in the least attracted by this bear. I was just being me. I was just, oh, you're just a sweet little bear. Do you gonna come home? That was me in the shop. I was larking about, as you do. And my partner said to me, stop that. Sensible man. He said, what, have you seen that little vase? What about that bear up there? And there was this one bear on the top shelf at the back. And it was this little bear. It was Penelope. And the minute I saw the little face, I was like, oh, wow. And of course I had to get it down and we had a little bit of together when I was calling her a he, because initially, I mean, it is my default position with a bear. My bears have always been male. So I've always assumed, all right, he, oh, I'm not sure if he can come home with us. 30 seconds later, it might have been up to a minute, I realised, not he. But gender, that's another interesting issue, isn't it, Penelope? Are you a she? Yes, mummy. She is. Penelope Lemon Biscuit. Miss Penelope Lemon Biscuit, in fact. So yeah, so what she told us gradually as we got to know her, once we'd got her home, we knew she was special. And it turned out that she came here from the bear dimension for us. So I should have really known the answer. Do bears choose people? Well, apparently some bears do. And Penelope is one of those bears who chose mummy. I am honoured, actually. She came here with a mission and a reason and a purpose. I think it was to do YouTube videos, actually. You think so? Not just YouTube videos at all. She's got all sorts of plans. But then to be fair, there aren't that many bears like this one. In fact, she was the very last one left. And I've always wanted to go back to Latham's of Potter Higham, anyone? In Norfolk, just to see. They've still got these bears. because I'm pretty sure that they're not going to look like this one. She's very different and I absolutely love it. So do your bears choose you? This one did. And I'm just looking over at the executive producer right now, who you can't meet yet for various reasons. He's looking at me a bit reproachfully. Your time will come. But he's actually a bear that I found in a charity shop. Would you believe? Sometimes you do find a bear in a charity shop. I have found plenty before now. I wasn't, but at this point, I was not looking for a bear. No more bears. Absolutely not bears of about this sort of size. No. So I went into the shop with my cousin, and being me, I saw a bear face down in a box and thought, what's he doing face down in the box? It's not going to help anyone, is it? He's not going to attract any customers like that. So I hauled him out, and I was talking to the shop man and trying to explain to him, you don't do that with bears. If you want to look at this bear, and I said, look at him, he's so personable, what a personality, waved his little paw, I said, this is a bear who can get a customer, but not if he's face down in a box. So, the shopman was humouring me, and so I put Bert on the counter, swinging his leg at the door, and I said, look at that. I said, he'll have a customer any minute. And he looked at me and he said, I think he already has. And I realised, yes, indeed, he did already have a buyer. So yes, and looking back, I cannot imagine, in actual fact, being perfectly honest, I cannot imagine what would have happened if I had not gone into that charity shop that day. And I never did. I never went into that one. Actually, I didn't go to the town that often. And I very rarely went into that shop. I come out of the palpitations at the thought, quite honestly, because he's been so much of an influence in my life and in my stories, in my work. You wait till book 2 comes out, Our Rabbit's Bed. Just you wait. Yeah. But, so that's Bert. And I'm thinking, did he choose me? We'll ask him. He's not on camera. But we'll ask him, so Bert, did you choose Mummy? That's an interesting one, actually. I think what happened there is that somehow, without choosing one another, we met because we were meant to meet. So that's a little bit similar, isn't it? He didn't choose, but perhaps neither of us chose, but it was something, if you like, some guiding hand. Was it the great mind? Was it a greater mind? If you think that the bear dimension has the great mind, which is the great mind sends the bear's anima, and it does a lot of the magical things, provides the magic. And in the people dimension, we talk about God or gods, don't we? So, maybe there was a greater mind, the great mind and the greater mind. I like that idea. So, 2 things already. Penelope, yep, she was coming. She chose me. She chose me and my partner. But, well, we think perhaps the greater mind. But we have yet one more person to ask, and that is the director of morale here. Mostardo, Pablo Jose Mostardo III. Now you're thinking, she's got that wrong. It's Jose, because it's spelled H-O-S-E, no accent, and she's got it wrong. But no, actually, I'm very into my languages, so I do know how Jose is spelled. But this little bear is actually Pablo Jose Mostardo III, and there's a long reason for that. Going back to his ancestors who were Spanish, coming down to where actually he doesn't know any Spanish, but he wanted a bit of a nod to his ancestors in his name. So he chose Jose, but he doesn't know any Spanish. So hose. It became hose, as in leggings or garden hose or whatever you like. Anyway, you see from the little face, he's delighted to be on camera. No? There you are. No, well, all right. Let's just address the elephant in the room. This little bear should have had by now his spring outfit, new jumper for spring, flowers, perhaps green colours, we don't know. Anyway, did it happen? No, it didn't happen, did it? No, he's not very happy about that. He's had to wear this red and white number since New Year, and it's what, March the 25th? So we were going to ask him if he deigns to speak to us, speak to me about it. Speak to everyone else, don't speak to Mummy. What does he feel about? Did he choose? Would he have chosen someone who, I've made him 8 jumpers now, but that's hardly one a month. It's hardly one even every quarter. And certainly, you can see the little face, can't you? It's just, I think I would have chosen somebody who would have provided more timely outfits, really, whose focus was not on everything else. Perhaps somebody who didn't have quite such a big family. But he didn't get that lucky. Oh no. Yes, I think I think this is an instance where perhaps the greater mind stepped forward, because again, when I found him, I was not in the market for any more bears, because that is the general rule in this household, is no more bears. We're really trying to keep to that, but every now and again they come along, these bears, that what can you do? What can you do? And this clearly, the minute I saw him, I knew this was someone that should be living with me. And I kid you not, 3 hours later, we had had the most fantastic afternoon. He had several names, photo opportunity, part in a book, stories, everything. 3 hours. 3 hours with one bear. So going back to the question, do you choose your bear? And I would be interested in your thoughts on this. Is, you would go to a shop, wouldn't you? And you look at all the little faces. So technically, yes, you do choose your bear. Perhaps something tells you that, one bear is more alive than another, or something tells you it's that one. But I think it's safe to say that obviously some bears do have a hand in exactly where they end up. I think they've got to be a little bit special and magical for that, because the animatrix machine is not, doesn't work that way. It doesn't work like, oh, I know, I'm going down here or there. So actually, the question might be, did Penelope get here via the animatrix machine or not? But that's a question for another day, something to ponder, because she is a little bit magical. Maybe there's another way in, a back door. Ooh. So, yes, some bears can choose you. Some bears, they don't choose you, but somebody else chooses for them, which is perhaps a better thing, because you might have ended up with someone else who was very, very good at making you jumpers. But little Elsa, would you be on YouTube now? Would you actually be a star? Would you have a role? Would you be director of morale? Just over egging the pudding a bit, because I feel he needs to hear these things. Anyway, and then of course there's Bert. So I think there is the great mind, the greater mind. And of course there is the element of choice, because if you are out on the streets looking for a bear, it's a choice, isn't it, whether or not you take that bear home. Although, as I've said, I think in some cases you see a bear and it's not a choice. It's, oh, have you seen this little face? And actually, my partner, realizing the no more bears rule, he realized his mistake the minute he said, I think he couldn't help himself. And then he went, but we said no more bears. We said, didn't we? We agreed. No more bears. But he knew it was useless. He knew it. The minute I saw a little face, that it was over. So I hope that's made you think a little bit more about not just how bears get here, but perhaps why bears get here, why you choose the bears you choose, and whether in fact you've got a bear that did choose you, or whether maybe the greater mind chose for you. So please do let me know. I would love to hear any stories you have of how you found your bear. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.